This is News 25 with Deanna O'Donnell and Missy Kohler. News 25, local news you can count on. Today's news is brought to you in part by Dr. George Leeks, Pahrum's optometrist since 1990, offering full spectrum eye care for children and adults. Call today, 727-8300. News is also brought to you by J.K. Nelson Law. Call 727-9900 today for your free consultation. If you need a lawyer, you need Nelson.
Welcome to News 25. I'm Deanna O'Donnell.
And I'm Missy Kohler, and today is Monday, July 27th.
Well, the Nye County Sheriff's Office detectives are investigating an incident that ended with one person shot at a Pahrump home on Sunday night.
The shooting happened on Marnie Court. Initial reports indicate a man says he shot at suspects trying to break into his home, but others with knowledge of the incident say the shooting was the result of an altercation between people gathered at the home. One person was struck by gunfire and ended up in Desert View Hospital for treatment. Pahrump Valley Fire Chief Scott Lewis says medics evaluated another person at the scene.
Pahrump Fire Rescue is dispatched to level 1 staging for a report of shots fired. As crews arrived in the area, the Sheriff's Office discovered there was blood about the scene, so they were relatively certain that somebody was injured as a result of those shots being fired. However, there was no one found in the scene with a gunshot wound. They put out alerts, and eventually, I guess, the person was discovered possibly at a medical facility within the town, and they responded to that location. We assessed one other person on the scene who is not a victim of the gunshot wound and determined that they did refuse medical treatment and refused medical transport to a hospital.
The Nye County Sheriff's Office continues its investigation. At this time, they've not released any additional details of what happened, the people involved, or whether there have been any arrests.
Well, the driver of a sport utility vehicle crashes their car, then flees the scene. Today, the Sheriff's Office says that person is facing charges, including DUI.
Pahrump Fire Rescue is dispatched for a report of a motor vehicle accident. The initial report was that it was thought to be a head-on collision involving two vehicles. As crews arrived on location, they found it was actually a single vehicle accident with a rollover type mechanism. The vehicle was off of the roadway, had impacted a stationary object, that being a tree stump, flipped over, caused serious damage to the vehicle. The crews attempted to complete a medical assessment on the occupants. However, they found that the vehicle was unoccupied. Witnesses stated that they observed a male running from the scene or leaving the scene, and myself and a NHP trooper located the person about 2 blocks away. He indicated through the investigation that he may have been drinking or may have been intoxicated, so that was part of their investigation with law enforcement. We assessed medically. The patient refused any medical treatment. As you know, we reported recently that we had another rollover type mechanism, not substantially high rate of speed, but enough to cause the individuals who were unrestrained to be thrown from the vehicle, and both were deceased on the scene. So it's always something we have in the back of our minds. Did the vehicle eject somebody? Did it come upon, rest upon somebody? So we take those necessary steps to make sure the area is clear as well.
And Nevada Highway Patrol has an update regarding last week's double fatal rollover crash that occurred on Gamebird Road.
Nevada Highway Patrol has released more details on the fatal rollover crash that killed 2 people last Thursday. On July 23rd at approximately 6:09 p.m., a black Ford F-150 was traveling westbound on Gamebird Road approaching Simmons. The patrol says for unknown reasons the vehicle left the roadway and entered the right dirt shoulder. The driver overcorrected, went across the travel lanes, and entered the left dirt shoulder. The vehicle began to rotate and overturned in the desert terrain. The patrol says the female driver and male passenger were both unrestrained and were ejected from the vehicle. Both driver and passenger were pronounced deceased on the scene. The driver is identified only as a 58-year-old female from Pahrump. The passenger has only been identified as a 59-year-old male from Pahrump. The crash remains under investigation. It is unknown if speed or impairment were factors in the crash. NHP is awaiting toxicology results for the victims, and authorities have not released the names of those killed in that crash.
Thank you to Brad Francis for that report. Well, the Nevada National Security Site today reported a wildland fire that is approximately 100 acres at this point. They have also called in some air support for this. This started around 8:30 this morning. The site and its related facilities help ensure the security of the United States and its allies by supporting the stewardship of the nation's nuclear deterrent, providing nuclear and radiological emergency response capabilities and training. News 25 will return right after this break.
You're watching News 25, brought to you by Star Nursery, your garden's partner for every bloomin' thing. News 25, local news you can count on.
Welcome back, and thanks for being with us. McDonald's will soon require customers to wear face coverings. The FAA is concerned about possible corrosion in parked Boeing jetliners, and new home sales saw a big jump in June. Angela Miles has all the details.
Topping our news, the rush is on to buy gold. Gold futures on Friday closed at the highest settlement on record. Gold is edging closer to $2,000 per ounce. Investors are moving into that so-called safe haven of gold out of concerns about COVID, tensions with China, as well as additional stimulus coming from the Fed. Starting August 1st, McDonald's will require customers wear face coverings at all 14,000 locations. The company says it's out of safety for employees and customers. McDonald's has what it calls a friendly plan for people who do not like the new rule. The FAA is very concerned about Boeing 737 MAX jets parked in storage. The agency says Boeing needs to check for valve corrosion before those jets can get back into service. And as more Americans work from home, they want a bigger place. Sales of single-family homes soared 13.8% in June.
To find out where you can see us every day, go to businessfirstam.com.
A man who insisted he get a tour of Area 51 and wouldn't leave until he got it is now facing a trespassing charge. He didn't get his tour. Instead, he got himself arrested.
On July 20th at approximately 5:30 p.m., the Nye County Sheriff's Office was dispatched to Gate 100 on the Nevada National Security Site for a trespass report. Upon arrival, the officer noted a vehicle on the side of the roadway. The driver of the vehicle was contacted and identified himself as Abel Gebri. Gebri told the officer he was there because he, quote, wanted a tour of Area 51, end quote. The officer reminded Gebri that the area was a no trespassing zone, noting the signs placed along the property line, and that he was 2.9 miles inside the no trespass zone. Gebri again replied that he was there because he wanted a tour of Area 51. Gebri understood the trespass warning as read to him by the officer, but allegedly would not leave without a tour. Gebri was arrested and transported to Nye County Detention Center, where he was booked on the trespassing charge.
Nye County is reporting 305 confirmed cases of COVID-19 positives this evening, with 15 new cases in Pahrump, 2 in Amargosa Valley, and 2 in Beatty since Friday morning. Reminder that the antibody positives do not count in the county's overall active total. Chemisys Laboratory through Serenity Health has partnered with Nye County Sheriff's Office in Nye County to provide a drive-up COVID-19 testing for Nye County and surrounding communities. Testing in Pahrump is now Monday 7 p.m. to 9 p.m., Wednesday 7 a.m. to 9 a.m., and on Friday 7 a.m. to 9 a.m., and no pre-registration needed. Just show up with ID and insurance card if you have insurance. If you don't have insurance, you may still be tested. Testing location is Serenity Health, 2280 East Calvet Boulevard, number 301. If you want to make an appointment for testing, you can do so in Pahrump, Beatty, and Amargosa. 702-234-5398 is the number you call. COVID testing and antibody testing available. Also visit Pahrump at serenityhealth.com. And testing in Tonopah can be done by making an appointment, calling 702-302-5800 or 702-482-9898. And a reminder, you do not need to be symptomatic to be tested. More news coming right up.
You're watching News 25, brought to you by Mountain West Lawyer, Injury Attorneys, 727-9500. News 25, local news you can count on.
At the July 21st Board of County Commissioners meeting, Nye County Grants Administrator Samantha Kramer presented a funding allocation plan to the commissioners for the disbursement of funds from the CARES Act funding received by Nye County.
The county will disperse funds to small businesses and families who have been affected by COVID-19. The county and funding recipients will be responsible for reporting back to the governor's office on the exact disbursement and use of the funding. Nye County will disperse $8.49 million to the county, small businesses, and the public. The county could receive as much as $4.2 million to mitigate the risk associated with COVID-19, PPE, supplies for testing, and equipment for telework capabilities. Sub-entities like libraries, museums, towns, hospitals, and general improvement could receive $1.1 million. Small businesses will be able to apply for reimbursement for personal protective equipment. $550,000 will be available for that disbursement. $550,000 will be made available for small business rental assistance. $550,000 for small business working capital will be available for rent, utilities, inventory, payroll, and license fees. Public programs will include rent, mortgage, and utility assistance. $550,000 will be set aside for these needs. $110,000 for food assistance will also be made available. The state of Nevada needs a draft policy and spending plan by August 1st in order to release the funding. The BOCC asked for policies to be put into place to assure that those that truly need the funding are the ones receiving the funding. They discussed at length how to distribute funding to small businesses so that they help the right people and inject economic relief into Nye County. All funds must be spent by December 30th of 2020, and reporting to the state must be completed by Nye County by March 1st, 2021. A draft policy will be presented to the BOCC at the August 4th meeting to amend and adopt.
Thanks, Missy, for that report. Well, the Silver State Health Insurance Exchange, the state agency that connects Nevadans to qualified health plans through the online state-based exchange known as Nevada Health Link, announces the open enrollment period for plan year 2021 will run from November 1st through January 15th of next year, extending the traditional open enrollment period by an additional 30 days and giving consumers a total of 75 days to enroll in a comprehensive health care plan. Nevada Health Link is the only place Nevadans can access subsidies to help offset the cost of insurance, and over 80% of consumers who purchase a plan through the exchange are eligible for financial assistance. For more information, go to nevadahealthlink.com. Well, extraordinary students come in all shapes, sizes, and ages, as does what inspires their dreams. For one young author, it's her little brother who has severe disabilities who inspired her to write a must-read book. Kim Martinez reports.
My name is Coraline, and I have a younger brother. My brother's name is Rickson. He's unlike any other.
8-year-old author Coraline Weeks is hoping the book she wrote, called Just Figure Out a Way, will help change minds and hearts about how we look at those living with disabilities. Her 7-year-old brother, Rickson, has cerebral palsy and other serious medical conditions. Coraline describes the good and bad of being Rickson in her book.
In his belly is a button and a tube that's used for feeding. Although he doesn't eat like me, good food still makes him happy. He may not get the joy of taste. I guess that's kind of crappy.
Rickson has some challenges. Do you want to tell us about those challenges that inspired you to write about his differences?
I wanted to write because everybody would say different kinds of stuff, mean things about him.
We dealt with a lot of bullying. Cora got very upset one time in public and responded to someone, and I had to tell Coraline that people aren't going to receive that in that moment, and you have to find a better way to just educate and show them and help them understand.
That better way turned out to be her book, which carries the powerful message that Rickson and all kids who face challenges can just figure out a way.
Was fitted for a wheelchair when only 2 years old. The doctor said he never walked, just sit there, we were told. We ordered him a gait trainer, and a miracle soon occurred.
Rickson and Coraline even figured out how to run races together, proving to each other and the world that where there's a will, there's always a way. And that includes Coraline, who through homeschooling is overcoming her own difficulties.
We were told that she was at risk for illiteracy and incapable of learning. And yes, and it's been a year, one full school year, and she wrote a book.
A book on sale right now on Amazon that everyone should buy, read, and share. Just Figure Out a Way. Kim Martinez reporting.
Thanks so much, Kim. Well, that's awesome. Well, if you're spending a lot of time outdoors on a hot day, it's important to plan ahead. Soaring temperatures and high humidity increase risk for heat illness. Cleveland Clinic's Dr. Tom Waters recommends hydrating at home.
You want to stay hydrated. That's one of the most important things. So you know, you don't want to hydrate once you become thirsty or hot. You want to hydrate before you even get outside.
When outside in high heat, you'll want to take frequent breaks. Dr. Waters suggests seeking shade or air conditioning every 30 to 60 minutes. He also advises taking it easy and doing less strenuous activity. So if you're out running or exercising in the heat, shorten the duration and intensity of your workout. And remember, a mask is recommended in public to reduce the spread of coronavirus, regardless of weather conditions. Wearing a mask in the heat won't hurt you, but if you find that your mask is more uncomfortable in hot temperatures, you'll want to build breaks into your day where you can safely take it off.
Frequent breaks, both from the mask and the heat, are a good thing to do. People with breathing problems such as asthma, emphysema, COPD, they may find it more difficult to wear that mask. So they're going to have to plan for the heat and come up with a strategy on, number one, how to stay out of it, and number two, what to do if they are exposed to it.
When taking a break from your mask, Dr. Waters says to be sure that you're 6 feet away from others to reduce the risk of COVID-19 transmission.
Well, applying for supplemental nutrition assistance programs here in Nevada is going to be a lot smoother process thanks to the extension of a federal waiver. The Nevada Department of Health and Human Services announced today that all interviews for SNAP applications has been waived due to COVID-19. The requirement had been previously waived, but it was set to be reinstated by the Federal Food and Nutrition Services Office. Given that Nevada continues to operate in phase 2 of reopening, the waiver was allowed to remain in place for the next 2 months. For more information, you can go to dhhs.nv.gov.
News 25 WeatherCam is brought to you by Lerner and Rowe Injury Attorney's Office in Pahrump. In a wreck, need a check? Call 702-877-1500.
Time to go outside and take a peek at what the weather's doing out there right now. Been a pretty nice day, really, a little breezy. Look at the clouds. Nice big puffy clouds. When we come back, Michael Donahue will have your latest weather forecast, so stick around.
News 25 weather is brought to you by Dairy Council of Nevada. The splash of cream in your coffee, the dollop of sour cream on your burrito, the melted toasty cheese on your pizza. Undeniably delicious, undeniably dairy. Enjoy what's real.
Hello and welcome back to News 25. I'm Michael Donahue. Today's weather. In Las Vegas, we had a high of 107 degrees, a low of 81. Death Valley, 116, a low of 84. 105, a low of 70 in Amargosa. 100 degrees, a low of 67 in Beatty. 91, a low of 57 in Goldfield. 89, 55 in Tonopah. 90 with a low of 53 in Carson City. 96 for the high in Fallon and 93 for the high in Fernley. And both of those towns have a low of 60 degrees. Now today in Pahrump, we saw sunny skies. Our high today was 103 degrees. Winds coming out of the south-southwest up to 15 miles per hour. Humidity at 10%, and 5:47 this morning was our sunrise. Now for tonight, we're expecting clear skies. The low is going to be 74 degrees. It's 102 outside currently, with winds out of the east-southeast up to 12 miles per hour, 14% humidity, and 7:52 tonight for our sunset. Now taking a peek ahead to that 7-day, we're expecting just sunny skies throughout the week, and also that wind is being fairly consistent, anywhere between 11 to 13 miles per hour throughout the week. Now it looks like our temperatures on Tuesday, we're going to be seeing a high of 105 degrees. We're going to slowly work our way up to 108 on Friday. Then after that, we're going to slowly start dropping back down to a high of 105 by next Monday. Now our overnights are pretty much seeing the same pattern. On Tuesday, we're going to be seeing a low of 75 degrees, working our way up to lows of 78 on Thursday and Friday, and then slowly dropping back down again to lows of 74 by next Monday. Just now with that, we're going to throw it back to the desk with both Deanna and Missy.
Thanks so much, Michael. And tomorrow we will bring you Governor Sisolak's speech that he did today. We heard that we were going to continue being shut down for a little bit longer, and he's going to review it in a week. This is what I hear. So we'll have the full report on tomorrow night's broadcast. I'm Deanna O'Donnell.
I'm Missy Kohler. Thanks so much for watching tonight. Have a great evening.